The invitation tears. Victoria Ashford's hands rip through holographic paper as 300 phones lift to record. "Someone's crashing the Met Gala!" Brittany Ashford shouts into her iPhone. Instagram Live, 2,000 watching becomes 5,000 becomes 8,000. The crowd circles tighter around Amara Williams, 25 years old, standing alone in her Target blazer while Manhattan's richest close in. "Zoom in on her shoes," someone whispers. "Those are from Payless." The laughter spreads fast. Amara's chest tightens, not from their mockery, but from remembering her mother's words before the cancer took her. "Baby, they'll always test you first. Let them." She forces her shoulders straight as Victoria waves the shredded invitation pieces. "Security!" Victoria's voice echoes off marble walls. "Remove this woman immediately." The crowd presses closer, hungry for humiliation. Behind Amara, the Golden Donation Board lists Marcus Williams. $10 million, but no one's looking at that. They're all watching a young black woman surrounded, documented, judged. "My name is Amara Williams," she says into the wall of phones. The security guards step forward. In 60 seconds, everything changes. The security guards hesitate. They're not mall cops or nightclub bouncers. They're ex-NYPD, trained to read situations. And something about this doesn't sit right. The young woman isn't drunk, isn't causing a scene, isn't doing anything except standing there while 300 of New York's wealthiest record her humiliation. "Ma'am, we need to see some identification," the larger guard says, his voice professional but uncertain. Victoria Ashford's patience snaps like over-tightened wire. She doesn't belong here, obviously. Look at her. She gestures at Amara's outfit with the kind of disgust usually reserved for finding insects in food. This is a $10,000 a plate gala, not a community college fundraiser. Her son Richard III steps forward, scotch in hand. That particular Manhattan swagger that comes from never having a job interview. "Mother's right," he says, loud enough for the phones to catch. "I mean, Target does have a great clearance section. I saw that blazer there last week. $29.99, wasn't it?" The crowd laughs because that's what crowds do when someone powerful makes a joke at someone powerless's expense. Brittany's live stream hits 12,000 viewers. Comments flood the screen faster than anyone can read. This is so cringe. Why's she even there, though? Security needs to do something. But wait, who is she really? The chat moves too fast to follow, everyone adding their judgment to the digital pile. Amara's breathing stays measured, but her mind races back to 6 months ago, her father's corner office overlooking the Hudson. "The Ashford deal is our largest acquisition," Marcus had said, reviewing the contracts. $750 million. They need us more than we need them. Their debt's catastrophic. She'd studied their financials, seen the desperation hidden behind their old money facade. 3 properties in foreclosure, personal guarantees on corporate debt, the family fortune hemorrhaging faster than a severed artery. Why bail them out? She'd asked. Her father's answer was simple. Because I can. Patricia Carter pushes through the crowd, her silver hair and emeritus pin from Columbia Medical giving her passage. "Victoria, stop this immediately. You're making a mistake." But Victoria's too deep in her performance to hear reason. She's playing to the cameras now, to the circle of witnesses validating her authority. "Patricia, darling, we can't have people wandering in off the street. What would our donors think?" She doesn't notice how several of those donors have started to edge away, uncomfortable with the scene but unwilling to intervene. "Call someone," Victoria commands Amara, voice dripping condescension. "Call whoever you think can vouch for you. Let's settle this properly." It's a trap, of course. In Victoria's mind, this young woman will fumble with her phone, make excuses, maybe cry. That's how these things go. The powerful challenge, the powerless crumble. The natural order maintains itself. Amara reaches for her phone with steady hands. The crowd leans in, phones adjusting for better angles. This is it. The moment of truth. The climax of their entertainment. She scrolls through her contacts, past the names that would mean nothing to them, straight to the one that would mean everything. The phone rings once. "Hi, Dad," she says, voice carrying clearly through the hushed circle. "Yes, I'm at the Met Gala. No, everything's not okay. Mrs. Ashford tore up my invitation. Yes, the same Ashfords. Could you come? And bring Jennifer. Thank you." The silence that follows is profound, not the comfortable quiet of an audience waiting for the next act, but the suffocating stillness of people realizing they might have miscalculated. Brittany's hand shakes, making the live stream wobble. The viewer count keeps climbing. 18,000, 21,000, 24,000. Comments have shifted tone. Did she say Ashford? Wait, the Ashfords? Jennifer sounds like a lawyer name. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Richard III is the first to break, his swagger evaporating. "Mother," he says quietly. But Victoria waves him off. She's committed now, can't back down in front of everyone. "Nice try," she says, but her voice has lost its edge. "Anyone can make a phone call. Anyone can pretend. He'll be here in 5 minutes." Amara interrupts. "His office is 3 blocks away. Williams Technologies. Perhaps you've heard of it. You're signing papers tomorrow morning. $750 million. She doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't need to. The words land like precisely placed explosives, each one dismantling another piece of Victoria Ashford's certainty. The crowd's energy shifts. Phones that were recording a scandal are now documenting something else entirely. The security guards step back. Somewhere in the distance, the museum's string quartet continues playing Mozart, absurdly normal against the unfolding catastrophe. Judge Harrison, who's been watching from the gilt-framed doorway, shakes his head slowly. He knows the Williams family, has known them for years. This won't end well for the Ashfords. The name Williams Technologies hangs in the air like a loaded weapon. Victoria Ashford's face cycles through expressions: disbelief, calculation, fear, before settling on desperate denial. "Williams Technologies," she repeats, as if saying it differently might change its meaning. "You're claiming to be Marcus Williams's—" The word daughter sticks in her throat, because accepting it means accepting what she's done, what 300 witnesses and 28,000 live stream viewers have just watched her do. Richard III sets down his scotch with excessive care, the crystal tumbler clicking against marble. His mind, usually focused on yacht clubs and cocaine, sharpens with the clarity of impending disaster. He pulls out his phone, fingers fumbling as he Googles Marcus Williams' daughter. The images load slowly, each one another nail in their coffin. There she is at last year's Tech Summit, standing beside her father as he rings the NYSE opening bell. There she is at the White House state dinner for tech leaders. There she is, and there she is, and there she is, always in simple clothes, always slightly apart from the crowd, always watching with those same steady eyes now fixed on his mother. "Jesus Christ," he breathes. "Mother, it's her. It's really her." He shoves the phone at Victoria, who pushes it away without looking. She can't look. Looking means acknowledging that she just publicly humiliated the daughter of the man who holds her family's financial future in his hands. The crowd around them has gone silent except for the whisper of texts being sent, calls being made, damage being assessed. The smart ones are already leaving, murmuring excuses about early meetings as they distance themselves from the unfolding catastrophe. Brittany's hand trembles so badly she nearly drops her phone. The viewer count has hit 32,000 and climbing. Comments scroll past in a blur. The plot twist. She really said 750 million. Ashford's bout to be broke. This better than Netflix. She wants to end the stream but can't. This is evidence now, legal documentation of her family's spectacular self-destruction. Her followers are screen recording everything, Twitter threads already forming about #Met Gala Karen. Patricia Carter steps closer to Amara, her voice gentle but carrying. I tried to tell them, dear. You're on our hospital's board. Your family's donations built our entire pediatric wing. She turns to Victoria with barely concealed disgust. The Williams family has given more to this city's institutions than yours has in the last decade. And you treat her daughter like this. Because of what? Her blazer? The security guards have backed away entirely now, wanting no part of what's coming. The older one murmurs into his radio, probably calling his supervisor to warn that tonight's gala is about to become tomorrow's lawsuit. Judge Harrison has moved closer, his experienced eye taking in every detail. The torn invitation pieces scattered on the floor, the phones recording everything, the clear pattern of discrimination. He's seen enough cases to know where this leads. Victoria's mask finally cracks. We couldn't have known. But the excuses sound hollow even to her. The truth is simpler and uglier. She saw a young black woman in modest clothes and made assumptions. She didn't ask for clarification, didn't check the guest list, didn't extend the basic courtesy she'd show to anyone who looked like her. The blazer from Target was all the evidence she needed to justify her cruelty. Couldn't have known? Amara's voice remained steady, but there's steel beneath the calm. My invitation was real. You tore it up anyway. You called security anyway. You tried to humiliate me anyway. Not because you couldn't have known who I was, but because you were certain you already did. Each word precisely placed, building a case that needs no lawyer to argue it. Through the museum's towering windows, a black Tesla pulls up to the curb. Marcus Williams emerges with the unhurried confidence of a man who's never had to raise his voice to be heard. He's dressed simply. Dark suit, no flash. The kind of understated power that doesn't need to announce itself. Jennifer Porter follows, her tablet already out, fingers flying across the screen. 2 assistants flank them, one already documenting everything on a professional camera. The crowd parts naturally. Those who know Marcus nod respectfully. Those who don't can feel the shift in the room's gravity. He walks directly to his daughter, and in that moment, the resemblance is unmistakable. The same calm bearing, the same way of looking through people to see exactly what they're made of. Amara, he says simply, putting a hand on her shoulder. Are you all right? I'm fine, Dad. She manages a small smile. Mrs. Ashford was just explaining how I don't belong here. Marcus turns to face the Ashfords, and 50 years of building an empire from nothing shows in his eyes. He doesn't need to raise his voice. Men like him never do. Victoria, Richard. He acknowledges them with the kind of courtesy reserved for people about to learn expensive lessons. I understand there's been some confusion about my daughter's invitation to an event I'm underwriting. The mathematics of power are simple and brutal. The Ashfords need this deal to survive. Everyone knows it. Their stock has fallen 76% in the last year. Credit agencies have them one notch above junk status. Without the Williams acquisition, they'll be in bankruptcy court by Monday, their empire carved up by creditors like vultures over carrion. And they just gave Marcus Williams every reason to walk away. Jennifer Porter's fingers pause on her tablet. Mr. Williams, I've reviewed the live stream footage. Multiple legal issues present themselves. She turns the screen to show a real-time transcript of everything that's been said. Defamation per se, discrimination, intentional infliction of emotional distress. The exposure is significant, particularly given the number of witnesses. The viewer count on Brittany's phone shows 38,000. The story is already spreading beyond Instagram, news sites picking it up, Twitter exploding, TikTok creators already making reaction videos. By morning, this will be everywhere. CNN, Fox, MSNBC, all of them running the same brutal narrative. Old money families' racism costs them everything. But Marcus Williams isn't looking at phones or lawyers or the crowd of New York's elite watching their every move. He's looking at Victoria Ashford, really looking at her, the way you might examine a business proposition that's just revealed a fatal flaw. "We were supposed to sign papers tomorrow morning," he says quietly. $750 million, your family's future. He pauses, lets the weight of it sink in. "Tell me, Victoria, is this how you treat all your business partners' families? Or just the ones who don't look like you?" Marcus Williams waits for an answer that doesn't come. Victoria Ashford's mouth opens and closes like a fish pulled from water, but no words emerge. The silence stretches until her husband, Richard Sr., finally stumbles into the scene, his face already flushed from bourbon and bad news. He takes in the tableau, his wife frozen, his son pale, his daughter still broadcasting their doom to 40,000 viewers, and grasps for the only tool he knows: bluster. "Marcus, my friend," he booms, extending a hand that Marcus doesn't take. "What's this all about? Some silly misunderstanding with invitations? You know how these events can be. Security gets overzealous. Your wife tore up my daughter's invitation." Marcus cuts him off. "Called security. Made a scene. Your children participated." He gestures minimally toward Richard III and Brittany, who both shrink under his gaze. "This wasn't confusion. It was cruelty." Jennifer Porter steps forward, tablet in hand. "Mr. Ashford, I think you should see the numbers." Her voice carries the particular satisfaction of a lawyer about to deliver devastating news. "Your company's acquisition agreement, Section 47B, the Morals Clause. Any action that materially damages the reputation or business interests of Williams Technologies constitutes immediate breach." She turns the tablet to show a rapidly updating dashboard. Current social media reach, 2.8 million impressions. Major news outlets picking up the story, 12 and counting. Estimated reputational damage to Williams Technologies by association with your family. Significant and climbing. The math is brutal in its simplicity. The clause was supposed to protect the Ashfords, prevent Marcus from backing out over minor issues. Instead, they've handed him a gift-wrapped exit that no court would challenge. Richard Sr.'s bourbon-glazed confidence evaporates as he processes what this means. Without the acquisition, they have 72 hours before their largest creditor calls in a $400 million note. The house in the Hamptons, gone. The Manhattan penthouse, gone. The family name that opened every door in New York for 5 generations, worthless. The board meeting. Richard III whispers to his father. Tomorrow morning. They already scheduled a no-confidence vote. The color drains from Richard Sr.'s face. He'd thought he had the votes to survive, but that was before his wife publicly humiliated their financial savior's daughter. Board members are probably watching the live stream right now, texting their lawyers, calculating exactly how fast they need to distance themselves from this disaster. Dr. Patricia Carter speaks into the growing panic. "I believe what Mr. Williams wants to hear is an apology. A real one. Not excuses about misunderstandings, but acknowledgement of what actually happened here." She looks pointedly at Victoria. "You made assumptions based on appearance. You acted on those assumptions cruelly and publicly. The very least you owe is honesty about that." But Victoria Ashford has spent 60 years never apologizing for anything that matters. The words stick in her throat like broken glass. Around them, the gala continues in surreal normalcy. Waiters circulate with champagne, the quartet plays Vivaldi, donors discuss tax write-offs, while at the center, an empire collapses in real time. Brittany's phone shows 42,000 viewers. The hashtag Ashford Meltdown is trending nationally. Marcus pulls out his own phone, dials a number. "David?" Yes, I'm at the Met. We need to discuss the Ashford acquisition. Everyone can hear David Mitchell's voice through the speaker. He's the CEO of Quantum Financial, the Ashford's largest creditor. I'm watching the live stream, Marcus. Half of Wall Street is. What do you need from me? The question hangs in the air like a blade. I'm considering whether Williams Technologies can afford the reputational risk of association with the Ashford family. Marcus says evenly. What's your position if we walk? David Mitchell's response is immediate. If you walk, we call our notes immediately. Full acceleration, all covenants. They'll be in bankruptcy court by Thursday. He pauses. Frankly, Marcus, after what I just watched, I'm considering calling them anyway. We have our own reputation to consider. The dominoes are falling faster now. Text messages light up Richard Sr.'s phone like a Christmas tree of doom, each one another institution pulling away, another door closing, another nail in the coffin the Ashfords built themselves with one torn invitation. Please, Richard Sr.'s voice cracks. Marcus, surely we can discuss this privately. Work something out. The deal is good for both companies. Was. Marcus corrects. The deal was good. That was before your wife demonstrated your family's values to 42,000 witnesses. Tell me, Richard, how do I explain to my board that we're partnering with people who tried to throw my daughter out of an event I paid for? Amara, who has remained silent through this corporate execution, finally speaks. They didn't try, Dad. They succeeded in showing everyone exactly who they are. She looks directly at Victoria, and there's something almost pitying in her gaze. You could have just looked at the guest list, could have asked politely, could have treated me like a human being. Instead, you chose this. Judge Harrison clears his throat from his observation point. If I may, what we've witnessed tonight goes beyond bad manners. There are legal implications here that the Ashfords should consider carefully. His judicial bearing adds weight to every word. Discrimination, defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, all thoroughly documented. The exposure is considerable. Jennifer Porter nods, adding, Mr. Williams, we have sufficient grounds to void the acquisition immediately. The reputational damage alone constitutes material breach. I can have the termination letter ready within the hour. No. Victoria finally gasps, the word torn from somewhere deep. No, please, we can't. I didn't mean... But she did mean it, and everyone knows it. She meant every assumption, every moment of cruelty, every second of satisfaction when she held up those torn pieces of invitation like a trophy. She just didn't mean to face consequences. Marcus studies her with the dispassionate interest of a scientist examining a failed experiment. You didn't mean to get caught, he observes. There's a difference. He turns to his daughter. Amara, you've experienced firsthand how the Ashford family conducts business. Do you believe Williams Technologies should proceed with this acquisition? It's a teaching moment wrapped in a corporate death sentence. Every eye in the room turns to the young woman in the target blazer, who now holds the fate of a billion-dollar dynasty in her hands. Brittany's viewer count hits 45,000. The comments have stopped scrolling, everyone waiting for what comes next. In the distance, an ambulance siren wails through Manhattan streets, the city's soundtrack to another fortune falling. Amara Williams takes her time. The room holds its breath while she considers the question, and in that pause, empires teeter. She looks at her father, then at the Ashfords, then at the hundreds of faces pretending not to stare while hanging on every second. When she finally speaks, her voice carries the kind of clarity that comes from absolute certainty. No, Dad, we shouldn't proceed with the acquisition. The words land like a judge's gavel. But not for the reasons you might think. She steps forward, addressing the room as much as her father. Destroying the Ashfords would be easy. They've given us every legal and ethical reason to walk away. By Monday, they'd be in bankruptcy court. By Friday, their name would be worthless. She pauses, lets that future sink in. But what would that accomplish? Another headline? Another family fortune lost to hubris? We have 45,000 people watching. Let's give them something more useful than revenge. Victoria Ashford sways on her designer heels, caught between relief and confusion. Her son, Richard III, grabs her elbow, steadying her while trying to process what's happening. Is this mercy? A trap? Brittany's hands shake so badly she has to grip her phone with both hands to keep filming. The viewer count has passed 48,000. Here's what I propose, Amara continues, her voice gaining strength. The deal proceeds, but under new conditions. Transformative conditions. She turns to face Victoria directly. You're going to learn exactly how much your assumptions cost, not just in dollars, but in human terms. First, a public apology. Not a PR-crafted statement, but your words, your voice, your acknowledgement of what happened here tonight. Victoria starts, but Amara isn't finished. Second, mandatory diversity and inclusion training for your entire executive team. Not online modules you click through, but intensive in-person sessions. 40 hours minimum. The crowd murmurs. That's more than most companies require in a year. Third, 20% of Ashford Foundation funds redirected to scholarships for minority students. That's $1 million annually, managed by an independent board that you don't control. Jennifer Porter types rapidly on her tablet, documenting each condition. The corporate lawyer in her admires the precision. These aren't feel-good gestures, but measurable, enforceable commitments. Marcus watches his daughter with something that might be pride, though his expression remains neutral. Fourth, Amara continues, quarterly diversity audits of all Ashford companies, conducted by third-party firms, with results published publicly. No hiding behind good intentions or gradual progress. Full transparency. She pauses, watching Victoria's face cycle through emotions. Humiliation, anger, desperate calculation. And fifth, you personally will mentor 5 young women of color each year. Real mentorship, documented progress, monthly meetings. You'll learn their names, their dreams, their struggles. You'll see them as human beings, not stereotypes. The room has become a courtroom, and Amara Williams is both prosecutor and judge. But instead of seeking destruction, she's offering something rarer, a chance for redemption with accountability. The smartphones recording this moment are capturing something more complex than a simple takedown. They're witnessing an attempt to transform humiliation into education. Prejudice into progress. These aren't suggestions, Marcus adds, his voice carrying the weight of finality. These are requirements, non-negotiable. You can accept them now, publicly, in front of all these witnesses, or we walk. You have 60 seconds to decide. Richard Sr. grabs his wife's shoulders. Victoria, we have to accept. We have no choice. His whisper carries in the silence. Behind them, their board members are already in crisis mode, calculating whether even these conditions can save the company. The terms are harsh but survivable, unlike bankruptcy, which offers no second chances. 30 seconds, Jennifer Porter announces, her tablet showing a timer. The crowd presses closer. Brittany's live stream chat has gone silent. Thousands of viewers holding their breath together. This is better than any reality show. Real stakes, real consequences, real change happening in real time. Victoria Ashford looks around the room at faces she's known for decades. Some show sympathy, others satisfaction, most just curiosity about what she'll choose. The donation board behind them still glows with Marcus Williams' name, a golden reminder of who really has power here. Her empire, built on generations of privilege, balanced on her next words. 15 seconds. I accept, Victoria whispers. Louder, please, Amara says. Everyone needs to hear. Victoria raises her head, forces her voice to carry. I accept. All conditions, all terms. Her voice cracks but continues. And I apologize. To you, Amara, for my assumptions, my cruelty, she struggles for the word, my racism. I was wrong. Completely, unforgivably wrong. The words hang in the air like a confession in church. Brittany automatically turns her camera to her mother, broadcasting this breakdown of everything she's known. Comments flood back. She actually said it. History being made. This is bigger than just one family. The apology is a start. Amara responds. The real work begins tomorrow, and we'll be watching. They'll all be watching. She gestures to the phones, the witnesses, the digital jury that will hold the Ashfords accountable. Every quarterly report, every scholarship recipient, every young woman you mentor, it all gets measured, documented, shared. You wanted to make a spectacle of throwing me out. Instead, you've created a spectacle of change. Marcus steps forward, extending his hand to Richard Sr. The deal proceeds. Same price, new terms. Jennifer will have the amended contracts ready by morning. The handshake feels different this time. Not a partnership between equals, but a careful agreement between teacher and student, with the whole world serving as witness. The agreement hangs in the air like smoke after fireworks. Victoria Ashford stands in the exact spot where Amara had been surrounded, but now she's the one encircled by judgment. The phones that had zoomed in on Amara's target blazer now focus on Victoria's trembling hands, her smeared mascara, the collapse of 6 decades of carefully maintained superiority. Brittany keeps filming, but her usual commentary has dried up. Even she understands that she's documenting her family's defining moment. Mrs. Ashford, Amara's voice cuts through the murmurs. Look at me. Not at the floor, not at the cameras. At me. Victoria forces her eyes up, meeting Amara's gaze for the first time as equals, or rather, with the power dynamic completely reversed. This feeling you have right now, this humiliation, this fear, this sense that everyone is judging you. Millions of people feel this way every day. In boardrooms, where they're the only one who looks like them. In stores where security follows them. In restaurants where they're seated by the kitchen. The difference is, they don't have million-dollar deals to protect them. The education has begun, and the teacher is 25 years old in a blazer that costs less than Victoria's lunch. You tore up my invitation because you couldn't imagine I belonged here. But belonging isn't about clothes or connections or the color of someone's skin. It's about contribution. My family's contribution is on that board. $10 million to keep these doors open. What's yours, beyond your name? Richard III winces at the question's precision. He knows the answer. The Ashford Foundation's donations have dwindled as their fortune evaporated. They're here on reputation fumes, trading on a legacy built by people long dead. His mother's cruelty wasn't just personal, it was projection, attacking in others what she feared in herself. Not belonging anymore. Judge Harrison steps forward from his observation point. Ms. Williams, if you'll permit me. He addresses the room with quiet authority. What we've witnessed tonight is more than a personal conflict. It's a crystallization of systemic issues that plague our institutions. The Ashfords aren't unique in their assumptions. They're just the ones who got caught. He turns to Victoria. Your real challenge isn't meeting these conditions. It's understanding why they're necessary. Dr. Patricia Carter adds her voice. I'll be volunteering to help oversee the scholarship program. My hospital sees talented young people denied opportunities every day because someone, somewhere, made the same assumptions you did tonight. Each scholarship will be a life changed. She pauses, letting the weight settle. That's what prejudice costs. Not just money, but potential. Futures. The next surgeon, engineer, artist who never gets the chance because someone looked at them and saw their blazer instead of their brilliance. Brittany finally speaks, her voice small but carrying clearly through her live stream. "Mom, I need to apologize too. I broadcast this for entertainment, for likes and views. I turned someone's humiliation into content." She swivels the camera to face herself. "To everyone watching, I was part of the problem, making a spectacle of judging someone. I promise to do better, to use this platform differently." Marcus Williams watches this unfold with the satisfaction of a chess grandmaster whose gambit has paid off. "The contracts will reflect every commitment made here," he tells Richard Sr. "Any breach, any failure to meet the specified metrics, and the acquisition reverts. The Ashfords get one chance at redemption. Use it wisely." "We will," Richard Sr. says quickly, but Marcus isn't looking at him. He's watching his daughter, who has turned a moment of personal attack into a masterclass in transformative justice. The young woman who stood alone 10 minutes ago now commands the room's complete attention, not through wealth or threats, but through the moral authority of someone who chose education over destruction. "I want to be clear about something." Amara addresses the wider crowd. "What happened tonight isn't unique to the Ashfords. How many of you have made similar assumptions? How many have stayed silent when you witnessed them?" Uncomfortable shifting ripples through the elegant gathering. This family will be held accountable because they were caught. But the real question is, what will the rest of you do when there's no live stream, no public pressure, no viral moment forcing your hand? The challenge lands precisely. These are people who sit on boards, run companies, make hiring decisions. They all have their own Victoria Ashford moments. Quieter, perhaps, but no less damaging. The donation board behind them suddenly seems less like a list of generosity and more like a question. What values are they really funding? "Change requires measurement," Amara concludes. "The Ashfords will report their progress publicly, but I challenge everyone here to examine their own institutions. How diverse are your boards, your executive teams, your donor bases? Post your numbers. Make commitments. Let sunlight disinfect the comfortable darkness of, 'We've always done it this way.'" The gala that began as New York society's standard self-congratulation has transformed into something unprecedented, a public reckoning with consequences that will ripple far beyond this marble hall. Several CEOs are already texting their teams, scheduling diversity audits for next week. The Ashford humiliation has become a mirror, and Manhattan's elite don't like what they see reflected. As security finally moves to restore some semblance of normal flow to the evening, Amara walks back to her father. "Ready to go?" Marcus asks quietly. She nods, but before they can leave, Victoria Ashford calls out one last time. "Ms. Williams, Amara, thank you for giving us a chance to do better. We won't waste it." The words sound strange in Victoria's mouth, unpracticed but perhaps sincere, or at least as sincere as desperation allows. "Prove it," Amara responds simply. "Not to me, to them." She gestures to Brittany's phone, still broadcasting to the world. "They'll be watching." 6 months later, the Metropolitan Museum hosts another gala. The same crystal chandeliers cast the same light, but everything else has changed. The donation board now displays not just dollar amounts, but impact metrics. Williams Technologies, 10 amounts, 47 scholarships funded. Below it, smaller but significant, Ashford Foundation, 5 MN, 12 scholars sponsored, diversity score B+, improved from F. Victoria Ashford stands near the entrance, greeting guests. The designer gown remains, but the imperious attitude has been replaced by something harder earned: humility. When a young black woman in a modest dress approaches with an invitation, Victoria doesn't just wave her through. She stops, makes eye contact, introduces herself. "Welcome to the Met. I'm Victoria Ashford. Thank you for joining us tonight." Brittany's transformed social media platform streams the evening to 800,000 followers. But instead of hunting for drama, she interviews scholarship recipients. "This is Jasmine Chen," she says to her camera, standing beside a Columbia pre-med student. Ashford Foundation scholarship recipient. She's researching cancer treatments that could save thousands of lives. "Jasmine, tell us about your work." The comments section, once a cesspool of mockery, now fills with encouragement and similar stories of transformation. In the museum's education wing, Amara Williams addresses a packed auditorium. The From Humiliation to Transformation speaking series has become the most requested corporate program in the country. Tonight's audience includes Fortune 500 CEOs, each holding a folder with their company's diversity metrics. The real numbers, not the polished PR versions. "The Met Gala incident," Amara begins, "started as my personal moment of discrimination. It could have ended as another viral video, forgotten in a week. Instead, it became a mirror." She clicks to a slide showing data. In 6 months, participating companies increased diverse leadership by 23%. Not because of quotas or pressure, but because they finally started seeing qualified people they'd been overlooking. Marcus Williams sits in the front row, watching his daughter command the room. The acquisition of Ashford Industries proceeded as restructured, saving 8,000 jobs. But more importantly, it created a model for transformative corporate justice that Harvard Business School now teaches as a required case study. Judge Harrison, who retired last month, stands during the Q&A. "Ms. Williams, I've spent 30 years seeing justice served in courtrooms. What you accomplished that night was something rarer. Justice served in public, with the whole world as witness. How do we maintain this momentum?" "By remembering that change requires constant vigilance," Amara responds. The Ashfords didn't transform overnight. Mrs. Ashford's first diversity training session was... She pauses, choosing her words carefully. Challenging. She cried. She got defensive. She tried to quit. But she stayed. And slowly she began to understand how her assumptions had shaped decades of decisions. From the back of the room, Victoria Ashford herself stands. The audience turns, recognizing her from the viral video that's been viewed 30 million times. "May I add something?" she asks, her voice steady, despite the weight of all those eyes. The hardest part wasn't the public humiliation. It wasn't even admitting I was wrong. It was recognizing that my entire worldview was built on excluding others to maintain my own sense of worth. Every person I dismissed, every resume I ignored because the name sounded different, every time I assumed someone didn't belong, I was protecting my own insecurity about belonging. She continues, her voice growing stronger. My first mentee through the program was a brilliant young woman named Aisha. Engineering degree from MIT, 3 patents, and I almost didn't meet with her because she wore hijab. That's who I was 6 months ago. That's what Ms. Williams forced me to confront. Not just my actions that night, but a lifetime of similar moments. Dr. Patricia Carter, now leading the Accountability Committee, presents the latest report. Ashford Industries Transformation Metrics. Employee satisfaction up 40%. Minority retention increased from 23% to 67%. 3 of Victoria's mentees have launched companies with Ashford backing. The 4th just got accepted to medical school. The 5th is Brittany's new head of content strategy, teaching her how to use platform privilege responsibly. The evening continues with testimonials from other companies that adopted similar frameworks. Not all succeeded. Change this fundamental can't be mandated, only cultivated. But enough have shown progress that the Metropolitan Protocols are being adopted by over 50 major corporations. What started as one young woman standing alone in a museum has become a movement. As the formal program ends, Amara finds herself back in the main hall where everything began. The same marble floors, the same golden donation board, but a fundamentally different space. Richard III approaches hesitantly. He's now running the Ashford Foundation's scholarship program, having discovered purpose beyond yacht clubs and cocaine. "Ms. Williams?" he says, "I wanted to thank you. Not for saving our company, for saving us from ourselves." He gestures around the room. "6 months ago, I couldn't see past my own privilege. Now I spend my days reviewing scholarship applications from brilliant kids who just need one person to see their potential instead of their circumstances." Amara nods, accepting the thanks without absolving the past. "Remember that feeling," she tells him, echoing her words from that night. "Use it, build on it, and when you're tempted to slide back into old patterns, because everyone is, remember that 45,000 people watched you mock my blazer. They're still watching to see who you become." As she prepares to leave, Amara passes the spot where Victoria tore up her invitation 6 months ago. A small plaque has been installed. "On this site, prejudice met accountability. Change began with confrontation. Progress continues with commitment. The Metropolitan Museum, in partnership with those brave enough to transform." Brittany catches it all on camera, broadcasting to followers around the world. The viewer count doesn't matter anymore. What matters is the message. That power isn't about keeping others out, but lifting others up. That humiliation can become education. That even the most entrenched prejudice can be confronted, documented, and transformed. One torn invitation, one difficult conversation, one measured commitment at a time. The night that could have ended with destruction became instead a beginning. Not perfect, not complete, but genuine in its attempt to turn a moment of shame into a movement of change. 2 years have passed since the Met Gala incident. The Ashford acquisition succeeded beyond financial projections, but its true value can't be measured in dollars. What started as one woman's humiliation has evolved into corporate accountability frameworks adopted by over 100 companies across the United States. Not perfect, not universal, but undeniably real in its impact. Amara Williams now leads the Institute for Transformative Justice, turning moments of discrimination into opportunities for systemic change. Victoria Ashford serves as an unlikely co-chair, her journey from perpetrator to advocate documented in Brittany's award-winning series that reaches 20 million people monthly. The metrics are transparent. 8,000 scholarships funded, 34% increase in diverse leadership across participating companies, and most importantly, a fundamental shift in how power recognizes and corrects its own blindness. But this isn't just their story. It's a challenge to everyone reading. In your workplace, your community, your daily interactions, you face the same choice Victoria Ashford faced that night. Maintain comfortable assumptions or confront uncomfortable truths. The difference now is you don't need 45,000 witnesses to hold you accountable. You can choose accountability yourself. Ask yourself, who don't you see? Whose potential do you dismiss based on surface impressions? What rooms do you enter without questioning your right to be there? And who do you question when they enter the same spaces? These aren't comfortable questions, but comfort isn't change. The torn invitation from that night now sits in a frame in the Williams Technologies lobby, not as a symbol of division, but of what's possible when we choose transformation over destruction. Next to it, a simple plaque. Every act of discrimination is an invitation to do better. The question is, will you accept? The world is watching. What will you show them?